Hi everybody, welcome back. Speaking of, like I did in the last video of, the Mummy series, and how the Scorpion King was a prequel to the Mummy series, the one with Brandon Frasier in it, facing Imhotep as Arnold Vossloo as Imhotep. This video is related to that one plus the first two Mummy reviews that I know I did previously. And this is kind of like the fourth movie in that series. It's of course this, the Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. This actually stars, of course, Brandon Frasier and Jet Li, and then it has Maria Bello, John Hannah, who plays Jonathan again, Russell Wong, Liam Cunningham, Luke Ford, Isabella Leon, and Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh, this is Michelle Yeoh right there, if I'm remembering correctly. See if I can get where you can see I think that's Michelle Yeoh there. She's, it's the lady that played in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon as the older lady. I mean, I really like her. This lady right here, I think that's Michelle Yeoh. I really like her as an actress. She's a very good actress. What it is instead of Rachel Weisz being in this movie, she bowed out of this movie because she's like, I don't want to make another Mummy movie. That's exactly what she said. It's got, no, why can't I think, well, it's Maria Bello takes her place, I think. It's, whoever this lady is right here where my finger is in the red jacket, if you can see her. But she does Evy in this movie. What it is this movie takes place several years after the second Mummy movie takes place. I'd say, oh good lord, I'd say it's a good 20 years after the second Mummy happened, or at least a good 15, because what happens is the O'Connells, Evie and Rick, are comfortably married. They're back in England. Their son has grown up and has gotten on with his life. He's discovering the tomb of the Dragon Emperor. But what happens is of course they also show Jet Li's character, like what he was like before, like they do that, like with like what they did with Imhotep in the first Mummy movie. Like they talk about why he became cursed and what have you. Here's Jet Li. What it is Jet Li's character, the Dragon Emperor. He tried to take over all of like China and everything, and he got credited for building the Great Wall on top of the corpses of his enemies and everything. And what ends up happening is Michelle Yeoh's character, I think that's her name, this lady here, when I was mentioning earlier, she's this witch that that the Dragon Emperor sends for, because it's like something about making him invincible or immortal or something. And what ends up happening is she's got to find this manuscript to do a spell on him and stuff to help him. And what happens is the general that the Dragon Emperor sends to get this lady the general ends up falling in love with the lady. And well, what ends up happening is they end up getting their freak on, and the Dragon Emperor finds out about it. Well, the Dragon Emperor figures out that this lady is just extremely beautiful, wants to marry her, but then what ends up happening is he finds out that the two of them have gotten their freak on together, and he has the general basically drawn and quartered. you know, at the beginning of the movie, and he runs the witch through with a sword. Well, what happens is, oh, she puts a spell on the Emperor, right? But what ends up happening is she ends up cursing him to where basically he, like, starts, you know, like, dripping like this way, and it looks like, you know, he's dripping chocolate. I'm serious. What ends up happening is she curses him plus his entire army for, you know, trying to kill her and then killing the general. And what ends up happening is he, like, melts, and it looks like he's freaking turning into chocolate or something. I mean, that's what it looks like. You know, it's mud or something, but it looks like he's turning into chocolate. He melts and he dies, you know, and, you know, what is he had control over the elements, and, you know, he was this very powerful emperor, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, what ends up happening is several, you know, years, like 2,000 some years later, you know, the O'Connells, well, you know, are at home, and the Evy's, you know, up there reading about her, like she's wrote a book about, you know, her last adventure with the mummy, and, you know, Imhotep, you know, at this book reading, and, you know, their son, you know, has, you know, discovered, like I mentioned before, the grave of, you know, or the tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Well, you know, and they all, you know, take it over to, like, you know, the place over in Hong Kong or something. Well, and Jonathan's there, Evy's brother. You know, he owns his own bar, and it's called Imhotep or something like that. And what happens is the O'Connell boy shows up, and it's like, hey, Uncle John, you know, and they're like, you know, and then it's like funny because, like, what ends up happening is you know, Rick and Evie show up at the same time, and it was so funny. I mean, just, it's like a whole comedy of errors there in the bar, and you know, it's like, it takes from there. But the nice thing is like you know, find out that, like, you know, they, you know, like the Love Diamond or the Hope Diamond or something like that. You know, like they have the O'Connells have like this fancy schmancy diamond, and what it is they get it back by the Emperor, and it brings him back to life. You know, because you know, these two leaders, like these two like this general and his henchwoman, because it's a woman, you know, force Evie to put her blood into the diamond, and it, you know, they do it to where it's like they bring the Emperor back to life. Well, you know, it just progresses from there. What ends up happening is the witch that the Emperor hurt several years, you know, like 2,000 years prior, you know, is still alive, and so is her daughter. And, you know, they actually fight and protect, you know, they help save the world and whatever. But, you know, it's just like a whole comedy of errors, and then it's this and it's that, and then, you know, there's these abominable snowmen, and, you know, they finally, you know, end up, you know, like, you know, Shangri-La, and I might think, hey, you know what, Shangri-La is someplace I wouldn't mind going. But anyway, that aside, I do recommend, you know, seeing, you know, The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And, you know, as an aside, I got a funny story about this particular movie. Tony and I got this at the local Kroger's. For some crazy reason, we went to pay for it, and it never, you know, we weren't able to completely ring it up. It just kept, like, you know, not taking it. And apparently the cashier wasn't paying attention. They basically let us get off with it for free. And I'm like, okay, since y'all ain't paying attention, that's not my fault, you know. But, you know, it wasn't like we were trying to steal it. We were actually there at the register ringing it up. It just malfunctioned and gave it to us for free. But anyway, that aside, I've got another movie review to do here, and I'll be right back, okay? So hang on.